So the other day, I got a crock pot, and
Oh my goodness.
yes, yes, I got a crock pot, and I made some broccoli beef with it, and it's fabulous. How was it, Eric?
It was pretty good. Like the meat literally just fell apart.
Mm.
Like you'd think you'd have to like run your fork on it or something, but nope, it just broke as you grabbed it.
So I'm hearing this in the context of a crock pot is a toilet.
No.
And they're having some good. They're splitting some beef broccoli on the crock
Well,
pot. If you know what I mean. The fork just slid right over it.
Yes, there was more broccoli beef later, but the first run was pretty good.
The first round was pretty good. That's all freaking Xavier's been talking about for a whole week is his crock pot and how he's
No. Yeah. Seriously, I've been asking everyone for crock pot recipes because my mom has an extra one, so I picked it up from her finally, and we've been making food. That's the only we've been cooking. Well, I cook for.
It's convenient.
It takes about like 4 or 5 hours, but
so long.
So I gotta plan out when I'm gonna be hungry.
Please send in crock pots.
Please send crock pot recipes.
Any recipes, really.
Because I only have one right now.
We'll talk about them.
All right,
we'll make them, and they'll be at the beginning of the video.
Here's a good one. Ranch chicken. It's like a ranch chicken recipe. You pretty much just put chicken breasts in there, and you throw in some chicken broth, and then you just cover it in ranch seasoning. Oh,
raw chicken.
So good.
Wait, ranch
chicken thighs.
Chicken
thighs. Yeah, it's like a ranch chicken.
Sounds weird.
It's really good. What do you mean weird? It makes like a
ranch as a marinade.
No, you ranch seasoning, not like.
Oh!
Like
I thought you meant like Hidden Valley. You just pour ranch on the chicken.
No. You use the ranch seasoning to season it, and then like it makes a really
That's
nice.
marinating.
It's pretty good.
Liquid.
Pretty good. You can roast it, or you can do it in a crock pot, whichever way. I mean, there's more to the recipe than just throwing ranch seasoning on chicken thighs in a crock pot.
I hope. You're gonna ranch your thighs.
If it were that easy.
Please don't. Please don't ranch my thighs.
Okay. That's weird. Anyway.
Oh, please don't.
Thanks, guys, for tuning in again. Episode number 3. Please remember to leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe. We'll be trying to do 2 of these a week. Next week might be kind of weird because Tyler over here is moving.
Yeah, BitBoy.
But today we'll be talking about Darling in the Franxx.
We're not outside, are we? So why does it matter what's happening outside?
We're distracting. Thank you.
I can't hear it.
I can't hear it either, so I guess you're the only one.
I can hear it. I have secret sonar vision.
What?
Yeah. What? Something you didn't know about me all these years.
Make it rain, Eric. I want to see it rain. Oh wait, you
move
can't
the
do
camera.
That.
No.
Oh, I see what you did there. I see what you did there, Darling in the Franxx. You can't do that.
I brought it back. You're getting off track.
Nice. Like all right, so it'd be kind of good if we, gave some summaries, assuming that not everyone has seen every show we've seen. So,
yes.
You got one for us, Tyler?
Yeah, I do. Okay, so set the stage. You're early 2018. You haven't really been into anime. Maybe you have. I don't know. Darling in the Franxx comes on the screen. But you got this like purple-haired girl. You got this really plain black-haired Japanese kid. It's very interesting that the way it looks is there. But basically, the show is set in a post-apocalyptic future in which humanity lives in these big old pods. They're called them plantations, and so all the people live inside of there. And then there is a threat called the Klaxosaurs. They're pretty much just giant mech dinosaurs that are attacking the humans. And then the children in the show are called parasites. And what they do is they pilot these mechs called Franxx to fight the Klaxosaurs to defend humanity. So that's basically the gist of the show, is following around this squad of parasites as they first become these Franxx pilots, these mech pilots, and they learn how to interact with each other and deal with like their emotions as growing children, as becoming teenagers and through puberty. And so it's important to know that each Franxx is piloted by a male and female pair. That's pretty common in mech, I believe, where there's 2 pilots, and then the pilots connect through like a mind connection or whatever, and they both pilot together. It's popular. It's what's done in Pacific Rim. That's how they pilot their mechs there. A lot of mechs shows or things do that, where the idea is, it's such a big thing, it needs 2 minds to control how big it is, and whatever. So Darling in the Franxx is no exception to that trope for mechs. But beyond that, it's a pretty interesting show when you look at it, and that's basically the world for it. Post-apocalyptic world, hundreds of years into the future, mechs defending humanity against some mysterious threat.
No, I think it's the near future. I think it's like the now. Like some of the characters are born in our time, and it kind of goes into.
No. One is, but it was hundreds of years ago, I believe.
Oh, okay.
I don't. Maybe it was like 100 or so, but let me double check. It's not super important how far away it is, but the point is the show is basically society fell shortly after a golden age happened after the 21st century. It's not super important at what point of time it's in, but what's important is that society fell after our time a little bit in the future. So near future, post-apocalyptic world.
Okay. Well, see, when I first came across this show, I was just like starting to binge a bunch of shows, and this is kind of like the show that really got me into anime. And I remember going through it, and it stopped at like episode 5, and I'm like, what the heck? Where's the other episodes? And then I realized there's seasonal anime, and then I was like, oh no. And I hated the fact that I had to wait weekly for the new episode.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I remember that too, because I wasn't super into seasonal anime either. I didn't realize it existed either at that point until Xavier was freaking, hey guys, you have to watch this anime. It's called Darling in the Franxx. It's really weird, and you'll probably look at it and be like, why would I watch that? But you gotta watch it. You'll open it up and you'll be hooked. And I opened it up and I was hooked. I even got my wife watched it together. We were super excited every Saturday or Sunday, wherever it happened. We'd sit down, we'd turn it on, and we'd watch it together. It's a great. I think it was a lot better back when it was fresh. It was a really, really good seasonal anime. Like you jump into it. It was really exciting to watch the world unfold every week. It was huge in the anime community. Everybody was watching. It was really great to go into it and talk about it. And it really. I don't know if I've watched anything like that since, where I was into it as much as I was this one. Other animes, I really liked them, but I was never like super so hooked into it. I don't know. Yeah.
Not really since Naruto that I've been hooked on the show weekly. And that's true. It's been years.
Usually I wait for them to be done. Except for My Hero. I watch My Hero, but that's a little different.
Another exception to the rule.
Well, what's different about it is My Hero it was an established franchise or an established series. Season 1 happened a few years ago, and we got into it when there was already I got into it when season 1 was already complete and season 2 was going on. And that's when I got into My Hero. So there was already an established world and everything. There was backstory, and there was a manga for it that people were into. There was an established fan base. But Darling in the Franxx came out of nowhere. It was made by Trigger.
Another seasonal made by Trigger Studios.
Trigger did Kill la Kill, which was a really popular anime. People loved Kill la Kill, and so the pull came from Studio Trigger. People were interested
A1
into
too,
it. Yeah, and A1 as well. And A1 does. I don't remember what A1 has done. They've done a lot of stuff.
They've done the things.
They've done the things for sure.
They've done things, yeah.
But so it's like the thing about Darling in the Franxx is, well, some people call it like Franxx. I hear them use Franxx in the show, so that's how I say it. But anyways,
it's Franxx.
So most shows are like in some sort of like Japanese setting, or like some like pretty generic fantasy setting or whatever, something like, that's already done. But Darling,
European,
but Darling has its own brand new like kind of like world that I don't know, I haven't really seen before. It's like people, there's almost like wasteland, and people are like reduced to like these bubbles that are protected by these children. It was piloting mechs. It's a new experience, and that's what really pulled me in.
It was so unique.
And, unique. They're very different from what most animes are brave enough to go into, because most animes just stick to like, we'll keep to what the world base is, kind of what we have now, or they'll alter small things. But this is much more than a small change. It's completely changing just how the whole world is looked at. you know. And it's hard to make an anime to build a whole world that's completely different, and at the same time still keep it somewhat understandable and relevant in under 24 episodes. Obviously,
Yes.
you gotta do it even less than that, you know, of course,
Yeah,
just to make sure it's understandable within a few episodes.
So what hooked me on this was not just the world building. I mean, that was fantastic. The uniqueness of it was fantastic, but that's what brought me into it, the world building. But then you stay around because the character development, the characters in the show are so good. Like these characters are amazing. You love them. You want to follow them. You care about where they're going. You care about the relationships they develop with each other. These 10 kids are written very well in the setting that they have, and it's really incredible and interesting to watch them grow, because the world in which they live is a world that is empty of everything that we know as a society, as people right now. There's none of this world that we understand or know. They're not taught about emotions. They're not taught about love. They're not taught about relationships with other people. These kids grow up pretty much isolated to just themselves, and they don't have an understanding of how basic society is supposed to work.
They're innocent. They're like
completely innocent, and
and ignorant.
Yeah, and it's amazing because the children are basically treated as the viewer, in a sense. So the viewer knows only as much as the children do.
Yeah.
At first. And you grow and you learn about the world as they do, and you're innocent just like them. But they're innocent in a way, like they don't even know what a kiss is. They don't know what relationships are.
Yeah, knowledge. Very small knowledge of things like that.
Yeah. And that wonder and awe that you feel is with these children is pretty cool.
So, like, when you mentioned the kiss thing, like, there's this very, like, really intense bar of, like, there's a lot of, like, sexual themes in this show. There's
yeah,
a lot.
Kissing. There's the way they pilot the mechs. They freaking, you know.
You pilot by doggy style. Very simple.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's very overt in the first, like, 4 episodes, and then it's toned down a lot, and they get more into the actual relationship.
Which is funny, because, like, though they don't know anything about that stuff, they're, like, forced in all these, like, weird situations that are very obvious to us, but to them it's totally, like, normal.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's very interesting how they do that, and very apparent also, just for the viewers.
There's some fan service in the show, definitely.
Like the mechs themselves.
There's plenty of it in the engine.
The mechs themselves, they have boobs.
Yeah, what's
like,
with that?
Why would the mechs need to have boobs?
While the world is great, it suffers from anime being an anime, I think. And this is what turns a lot of mainstream people off from anime, is these kinds of things, where the over-sexualization of characters for no reason other than to sell figurines, basically. And it's just so much. Some of it's unnecessary. Like, the robots don't need to have boobs. They don't need to be. The robots themselves don't need to be sexualized. It's so weird.
Like, when the first time Strelitzia transforms from her Stampede mode in episode 1, it's got the exact same sequence as in Kill la Kill, whenever, like, Ryuko, like, transforms into her, you know, get up.
Yeah.
If you watch it side by side, they're very similar. Well, that's thanks to Trigger.
It's Trigger. That's what they do. They've got a few things. They over-sexualization of their characters in space. That's what they do.
So, at the time of recording this, it's November 2019, and I don't know about you guys, but I'm still seeing 02 memes and posts
everywhere
online, and I'm like, it's almoed been 2 years, right?
Yeah, it's almost been 2 years. Yeah,
and like, it's just amazing how, you know, she's still relevant as a character. Like, as like seasons come and go, like, you know, you'll see like characters rise in popularity, and then as soon as their show stops airing, it just drops. Kind of like, what's that? Oh, I forgot her face. See, I already forgot. The girl, the pink-haired girl from
Chica,
yeah. She was great.
There was,
and then all of a sudden her show stops. So boom.
Talia as well. Yeah.
The idea of a waifu doesn't perpetuate beyond the life length.
But
of
I'm
their
still
show.
seeing Zero Two. But to be honest,
Yeah.
I am a Zero Two fan.
maybe there's some bias there.
All I want is for her to call me darling.
I don't need that. I don't need that to happen.
Why not?
Why do you want that? What is it about her that?
That's a good question. What is
What
about
is
What
Zero
about
Two
her?
that makes
Maybe
her
it's the
so-
horns. Maybe
it's the horns? That's it. The horns, man. I'm all about it. I'm all
I'm
about
a simple
monster-
guy.
That,
Monster Girl.
what do you watch?
Monster
That Monster
girls.
Musume? Is that what it's called?
I don't know.
I don't watch it. I just know of it.
Mm. But yeah, like we got like 02 who's out there. We have a couple of the girls. Like I feel like Rem from what's ReZero is pretty popular too.
Yeah, she
Um,
is. That one girl from that manga is all over the place.
That one manga.
Kami? I don't remember her name.
Oh, but
But
she's not
she's-
really sexualized. She's
No, she's
people
not.
like to
She's
keep
just
her
a-
like innocent, but
They keep
You have
her
the
innocent.
girl from Demon Slayer that she's not sexualized either, but she's talked
Nezuko?
about.
she's a
everywhere
child.
too. She's
She's a
everywhere
child.
too. Like everyone's like, oh, she's so cute.
Well, Demon
But,
Slayer
you
Demon Slayer has been going on it was a 2-season show. It was 24 episodes. So
Mhm.
since that's been over, I haven't seen much of her at all.
Right.
So
But even still, it's
I
just,
still see her
she was
pop up a
thing
little
for
bit.
while.
But it just finished airing.
yeah,
Mhm.
it just finished airing, so that'll
Just give
probably
it a little
taper
more
off.
time and she'll be gone.
But 02 was pretty prevalent because there's this thing called Zero Tuesday where people just post
Oh, yeah.
02, and that still happens.
I
People
think
are
I
like, "Zero
did have
Tuesday,
one of my
guys."
phone wallpapers as 02 for a while. if I
Yeah,
remember correctly.
it just stays on. So there's a reason for that, and I think I know why. But I want to know what you guys think, or why. First, I want to know why Xavier's so obsessed with her still.
Just okay. So as I rewatched it, in English this time, just to prepare for this, I liked all the characters' voices in the dub, but 02's was off. Like in the English, she's very mature. She's very almost
I'll be
like
mature.
forced sexy on me.
Yes.
Where in Japanese, it's very organic. It's very kind of real. It's just like that fits her character and her voice, kind of connect, especially when she says "darling." But I don't know.
The
In
Japanese-
English, it seems kind of weird. I liked everyone else's
Yeah.
voice, but 02's was kind
It
of
was too old. It was too seductive. She like the voice actor, the English voice actor was trying to be oddly seductive. I don't know
I
why.
wouldn't say oddly as much as I would
Well,
say
I
like
would,
out
it was
of
ov-
like
it was
it
overtly.
was obvious.
It was obvious, but that's what I mean oddly. Like it was kind of out of place to the rest of the show. Where I
Mhm.
understand 02's character is kind of like she's aware of the innocence that the other characters have, so she kind of plays off that.
She plays the
especially with
naughtier
Hito.
part.
Yeah, where
as
she-
all the
she's-
characters.
Yeah, she's kind of like she knows about kissing, she knows about sex, like she knows these taboo subjects that the other characters don't, and so she kind of like shows them and pushes them toward that. But that doesn't mean she has to be this oddly seductive character. And
Right.
the Japanese voice actor sounds like a 17-year-old girl,
Yeah.
and who may have been forced to mature beyond her years simply because of her circumstances, which it fits her so well. But the English voice actor sounds like a 30-year-old woman trying to sleep with a dude, like a dad or something.
Yeah.
Like she goes to the schools and she's like, "Hey, big boy." So
You want to be my darling?
My
so-
darling.
Like, "Oh, hey guys, I just dropped off my 3-year-old.
Oh boy.
Like that's it's strange. It doesn't really
Just
fit.
dropped off my darling.
Yeah, exactly. Do you want to be my darling now? It's so weird. I don't like it.
Me personally, I honestly, at the beginning of the series, I did not like 02 at all. I
Me
found her very annoying. I was like, oh my gosh, this woman is just so, like, possessive and just, like, she just seems to bother me a lot. I don't know what about her kept bothering me, but I was just like, I do not like 02. But until after you get the flashback episode, and then you see her after flashback episode, Hiro gets all of his memories back. You start thinking like, wow, okay, now my point of view, my opinion of 02 has changed quite a bit, and then I grew to like her a lot more, mostly just because of her story, her background, and everything
she's
just
got
changed my opinion of her, and
Really
which
good
really
story.
It just really makes me realize that you can't really judge a character just off the face of him, you know. And
So
well,
this
more-
is what I think about Zero Two and why she's so popular and why people fell in love with her. It has to do with Hiro more than it has to do with Zero Two.
Okay.
And Hiro is your basic, bland anime protagonist. A lot of shows do this. A lot of anime shows or anime games have your basic protagonist. They all have the same haircut.
Because they want
and that's
they want
they
us to project
want-
ourselves
yes,
onto them.
Exactly. They want the viewers to be able to project themselves onto this faceless like mold. And so Hiro doesn't have a lot of character. He does in a because of Zero Two, but if you take Zero Two away, Hiro is fairly
He's
bland.
very
All he
dependent
does-
on her.
well, look
yeah,
at what he
he's-
was on the first episode before he met her. He was
Yeah,
boring.
exactly.
He couldn't
He's
do
just-
anything.
He can't do anything. He doesn't. He like gives up easily. He's just like, I just go with the flow, man. I do whatever they tell me, and he only gains purpose because of Zero Two, and his character's only interesting because he's involved with Zero Two. But that's the purpose of that is so that the viewers can project themselves onto it. And so what they see, especially the target audience, I would say would be ages like a 16 to 24 single male. That's the target audience for the show. And that doesn't have to be the only people who watch it, but that's like who they're gearing it toward. So when you take yourself and put it in there, if you're that person, you see Zero Two as this. It's kind of like the same thing as a knight in shining armor woman, where a woman wants a man to come into her life, sweep her off her feet, pick her up, and save her from things. Zero Two's the same way. She comes into Hiro's life, he's failing, and he's kind of boring. His life's boring. He's not going to where it goes. But this girl, this mysterious girl who's got the sexual maturity that he doesn't have, comes in, sweeps him off his feet, and says, "You can be. I want you specifically. You're mine." And she just comes out of nowhere and then just instantly wants him, takes him, and lets him accomplish his goals. And so the idea there is, it's the fantasy of having a girl come and only want you and be very possessive over you. And it's like, I want this person and this person alone, and I'm attached to this man. And that's kind of what the idea is, I think, and that's why people are so attached to it.
I've never thought of it that way. That's a good point.
No, a lot of shows, not many shows do that.
Yeah, no, it was a genius character development on their part for that. But I think that's why she's so lucrative, is because she's kind of like I said, it's the female equivalent of a knight in shining armor man.
We kind of have her counterpart in Ichigo,
Yeah,
where
exactly.
they're kind of similar. Like Ichigo wants to help Hiro and help him accomplish his goals, and wants to keep him around and keep him happy, and she really cares about him since day one,
Mhm.
really. But she isn't compatible with him in the way that she can't pilot a mech with him, but
No.
Hiro can with Zero Two.
Mhm,
So
yeah.
she feels kind of useless. Like, hey, I can only do so much for you, but Zero Two can pick up the rest, and she feels this weird jealousy towards her, and she might not even understand it's jealousy, but
Right.
Think of it this way. So, at its core, Darling in the Franxx is a high school romance anime disguised as a mech anime. That's what it is. If you take away all of the mechs and all of the post-apocalyptic stuff, what we have left is a romance between teenagers. There's a love triangle. It's like a love square.
it's like a love everything.
a love
Zero
polygon.
Two,
Are you kidding me?
Hiro,
there's-
Ichigo. You got
there's
Ikuno,
Goro off of Ichigo and
Goro
Ikuno
off
also.
of Ichigo.
It
Goro.
is
You got
a-
freaking everyone.
You got
Everyone loves
Futoshi
everyone.
wanting Kokoro,
Yeah.
and then
It's
she
a-
wants to swap with the other.
Yeah.
Just stuff
It's a
like
nice-
that. You know, it's
Yeah,
interesting.
it's a nice, interesting look at the development of teenage relationships. And as a introverted teenager, the kind of person that watches anime, really, what they want, or what they think they want, as a teenager especially, is a girl who is going to be as bold as Zero Two. Where Ichigo is the kind of girl that, she may like Hiro, but she doesn't go out and take what she wants. She stands there and she expects Hiro to make the first move. And as a teenager, a teenage boy especially, I think what they want is a girl to come and approach them and to say, "Hey, I like you. You're cute. Do you want to go out with me? As opposed to a girl who may like them and play the games where she's like, I like him, but I want him to come after me.
Which
You
is
know, and
like
that's kind of
Ichigo.
what Ichigo does. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so if we take all that stuff and put them in a high school, that's what it is. Zero Two is the new girl in school who finds this guy, and she's like, I like him. I'm bold. I'll take what I want. She goes, hey, Hito, let's go on a date. And Ichigo's like, but I liked him first. Well, I can't tell him how I feel because that's scary. And Hito's like, well, she likes me. I'm gonna, go with the flow kind of thing. And that's what
Right.
a teenage boy wants. They want a girl
She
to
likes
come
me.
up to them.
And
yeah,
if
and be,
Well, Ichigo was bold. Halfway through the series, like, she basically told Hiro as it is. She's like, I do not want you to be with 02. Like, I want you to stay because I love you. And I've always
she was too late,
you.
though.
But it was too late. And guess who was watching? Good boy Goro back there. And then he gets destroyed.
Goro.
And I'm over here like, oh.
Goro.
Secretly, we're all Hiro, but we're all also Goro.
We all wanted Goro in our lives to
Goro.
pick up.
Vote Goro
trailer-
for best husbando of the century.
Godro is his true name.
God,
He is the bro of the century. This guy.
He puts away his feelings and tries to even set up Ichigo and Hiro. And I'm like,
yeah.
man, I wouldn't do that.
And you even
This
see the
guy is too good.
flashbacks between them, and you're just like, man, Goro, I feel so bad.
If you haven't watched it and you don't care about spoilers, we've been talking about spoilers for this whole time. But if you don't care about them and you're not gonna go watch it, or you don't want to understand what we're talking about, Goro is Hito's best friend. He is mech partners with Ichigo. Goro loves Ichigo. Ichigo loves Hito. Ichigo doesn't really return the feelings, reciprocate towards Goro. And so we've got this weird love triangle. So Hito loves 02, Ichigo loves Hito, Goro loves Ichigo. And when Goro tells that to Ichigo and she doesn't reciprocate, he's like, that's fine, Ichigo. I just want you to be happy. Your happiness means more to me than you reciprocating love back. I just wanted you to know we can still be friends. We can still hang out. We're cool, right? And Ichigo's like, man, girl, you're the best. And he does the same thing to Hito and 02. He's like, you guys are great. I'm going to do whatever I can to keep you guys together. I'm going to keep you guys propped up. I'm going to help you, Hito. I support you. You're my best bro. He's just a great guy. I love him.
Yeah. See, that reminds me of the other triangle that we got. We got Kokono.
I love that one.
Futoshi, and Mitsuru.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, big guy, Futoshi, he really likes his partner, Kokono.
Yeah.
And then, but she's like, you're cool. You're nice. You're nice. Calls him the nice guy. Doesn't really replies.
Kokono basically has friend zoned Futoshi.
Basically.
That's basically what's happening.
And she even tells him, like, yeah, I'll always be your partner. I'll always be your partner. And then she's just
Can I swap?
Can I swap? Get me out of here. Like, she didn't want to hurt his feelings, but she's just too nice to say no.
But man, when they swapped and Futoshi broke down, man, I was right there with him. Was like,
yeah, I'll be honest though. At the very beginning, I was laughing my head off. I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is hilarious!" But then, after he was like down on the ground crying, I was like, "Okay, actually, I kind of feel that now. Okay, I know how he feels now." Okay.
When I first watched it, I was on Futoshi's side. I was like, "Yeah, Kokoro, you suck. You have to be so mean." I watched that the second time I watched it. I was like, "Man, Futoshi, you're kind of creepy." I was on Kokoro's side the second time. I was like, I completely understand. I'm sorry, Kokoro. You were in the right the entire time.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how relationships are. There are two different.
You gotta balance
sides,
the creep out.
Hey, like, you can understand both sides, honestly.
Yeah, you can. You can. You definitely can. Like, Futoshi was overly possessive, and Kokoro was kind of giving out the wrong six. She was leading him on, I would think. Mm-hmm. And that's why people didn't like her. But she wasn't leading him on purpose. She was doing it because she was like, Futoshi, you're a good friend of mine, and she didn't expect to like have this arc with Mitsuru where they fall in love.
Yeah, but remember, they don't even know what love is.
No,
you know, so it's like not like she's like trying to like hurt him or anything. It's just like they're developing these feelings. They have no idea what their names are.
Yeah, and they meet each other at this garden just all the time. not even on purpose. Well, maybe her a little bit, but she goes over there to take care of the flowers. He's there because it's a lonely place that he can just be on his own and think. And she cuts his hair, and it just changes, and they kiss.
Yeah,
it develops.
Yeah, they develop, but their relationship developing makes a lot of sense, and it's like, and it's not necessarily, it's just that I don't know really what I'm saying, but Futoshi and Kokoro kind of are together because of circumstance. They're told that these are your partners, this is what you have to be, and so Futoshi's like, yeah, that's great, Kokoro, you're the best. And Kokoro's like, yeah, I like Futoshi, he's a cool guy, I'm with him, and that's just how it is. But then she kind of discovers as they grow up and they all are starting to hit puberty and discover their feelings and dig into their emotions more, she realizes that, I kind of like Mitsuru more. And as they talk, they fall in love, and it's great. It's really nice just how that develops between the two of them. And it sucks for Futoshi, but I mean, come on, man.
That's how it is.
So
that's how it goes.
You gotta.
So yeah, spoiler. But what do you guys going from that? How do you guys feel about the wedding and the aftermath of that?
So what happens is they go to this big grand fight, and then a giant hand comes down and crushes the plantation of Squad 13 of all our characters, and then they're kind of abandoned and left in their pod of the world in this like garden area. They're on their own. No one's coming to help them, and so they spend months there without any outside influence at all, trying to figure out how to live and how to do their life. And so this kind of happens after a certain arc, and then this goes on for like 3 or 4 episodes, I think, before they move on to something else. I liked it. A lot of people didn't like it. I thought it was nice. I think the strength of the show was in the characters and the characters discovering themselves, not the mech fights. The mech fights were always lackluster, and the whole world behind it was really cool, but it was always secondary to these characters. Yeah, discovering themselves. And so
the reason they're always in the intro, all of them, single characters. They're huge.
Yeah. And that's the strength of the show. So when they focus on them completely, it makes a lot of sense. And I think I loved it. I was a big fan of it. I know a lot of people weren't, because it was.
Why not?
I don't know. I know some people didn't like the arc after that.
There's no action. There's no goal. There's no goal, but I don't know.
I think it was how slow paced it was. It was very slow after this, because not much happened. It was mostly characters growing together and character development. Yes, and that's what it was. So it was a very slow pace after that, where not a lot happened. I think that's what people didn't like. But I loved it. I loved just spending time with these characters, and it was great to see them develop in that capacity.
Yeah,
almost like they're filler, but like not really. That's what's going on with our characters.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
If I may, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, it's not really filler, because they're learning more about themselves, and it does kind of lead into the next arc where they get taken away. Their feelings get basically ripped out of them, with their minds being altered, their memories, and they kind of have to like start over. They're like, okay, we've been a little bit too bold with our execution of things, with our relationships. Turns out that Papa and the people who govern society don't want to keep all this in a hush hush, and kind of leads to new questions like, why is this stuff not allowed? Like, why aren't we allowed to love? Why aren't we allowed to reproduce? Why aren't we allowed to do these things? Why is this like forbidden taboos? And then as they discovered those things, and they discovered that they're bad, it kind of leads into like the next arc.
Well, all that's thrown out the window. they developed that. They developed that, and they're like, all these questions. How are these characters gonna reconcile living in the world where all of that stuff is frowned upon and looked at as bad? Like, what are they gonna do to overcome this? And then space aliens destroy everything.
Space.
That's it. And then it's like we don't need to answer
Aliens,
these questions.
man. This is the second
Because-
anime where aliens have ruined this series. We talked about Naruto and how aliens kind of
Oh,
ruined
yeah.
this series, and
forgot
now
about
we're
that.
talking about Darling in the Franxx,
Oh,
and
my
aliens are
goodness.
ruining the end of this series.
It's just they
The
built-
show is like stocks. It's like, yeah, and then it's an
Yeah.
aliens.
Naruto, boom, Darling, boom. At least it kind of goes back up, but still, like, oh my
It
gosh.
just
Oh yeah, spoiler.
it builds all of those questions, and you're like, how are they gonna handle this? How are they gonna get through this? And then it's like, well, they don't need to get through it because aliens destroyed civilization again anyway, so
Boom.
it doesn't even matter, bro.
You know,
Restart.
It's like,
I
oh,
remember talking to you
okay.
about this, Tyler, when it was airing. We're like, man, this show is really good. Like, there's so many questions and not enough answers, and that's what's keeping me coming back. I really like the world building, the slow pace, the slow cook, like the crock pot. And
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden, next episode, it's like, all right, we're going to turn it up a little bit. We're going to dump all this info on you. And then we're like, all right, this show's dead.
Yeah, it ruined. It really.
It took one episode to just turn you around.
Yeah,
Literally.
it did. Because the pace at which they were revealing things was great. I loved it. You just slowly learned about the world as the characters did, and then they just one episode. Ignore all these children. We're gonna follow Dr. Franxx. He's the scientist who made this whole world happen. Let's go through his journal and see what he did.
Let me
And then they just
explain to you everything.
Explain the entire world through like a narration with a PowerPoint presentation, basically. They're like, "This is the world of Darling in the Franxx."
Basically,
102
and so far through the show, we never had the story through like his like point of view.
Yeah, we never.
And then all of a sudden, like, it is in his point of view, and he's explaining everything that's happens. It's like, 2000, and why the world is the way it is. And I was like, do we really need to know all this stuff? Because that's not why we're here. We're here for the characters. We're here to like see what happens with like 02
But
and
it's
Hiro
interesting.
with Mitsuru and Kokoro.
Interesting in another show. If
Yeah.
that's the show, if that's how the show is from the beginning, that's interesting. But it's getting in the way of itself. It's that mech anime and the post-apocalyptic world anime that kind of takes the forefront, and they put the characters in the back when the entire story was built on the characters in the first place. And instead of using the world that they built to drive the plot forward with these characters, they're like, all right, we don't need characters anymore. We just need full-on plot. That's
Boom.
it. And they switch places where this high school romance becomes the back burner, and then your mech anime becomes the front. But there's no transition period between the two. There's no like lead up to it. It's just boom, we're swapped, guys. Everything we've built, burn it down. Here's the real story. You've been duped.
Right?
Got him.
Well, they like
Yeah, exactly.
double duped us. They're like, okay,
Oh,
here's
yeah.
the real origin of the world, like the background, the whatever, and then they flip that over again. They're like,
And go to the very
aliens.
next episode.
They're like, now that you understand everything, we're gonna toss it all out because aliens.
Aliens. And then
Lost me there.
and it lost everyone. Really is. But it ends on a really good note, though.
It does turn it
ends
around.
Yeah, the end is good.
Stops.
very nicely. It does. The very last point of it ends almost perfectly for what they did. If they could have ended it almost the exact same way if they got rid of all the space stuff. They wouldn't have the giant monster 02 bride weird wedding mech thing. That was weird.
It was.
But the way it ends, the very ending moment where spoilers, if you don't know this by the way, where 02 and Hito sacrifice themselves to save humanity, and then their souls basically are enshrined in this tree, this immortal tree, as like a tribute to them
Yeah.
and what they do. And it's beautiful. It's really cool how they they never actually got to live their lives together, and that's what they wanted to do, but they get to rest forever in this beautiful place together. And that ending is perfect. It's a tragic, but it's also happy at the same time.
Yeah, they
way they
kind of
got there
almost
was
get
really
reincarnated.
Yeah, they kind of
It's almost like they're
kinda do.
reincarnated, you know?
Yeah.
We
Like,
see
they
like
get to
two
spend-
similar characters meet,
Yeah,
and they're
at the
like,
great.
tree.
Really
That's
good. Really good ending. And even all the other characters in the series that we've been loving also get their own respective great endings. You know?
They do. They do. Endings that make sense.
That too.
That like they build up to a really good point. Like Futoshi finds a girl from another plantation. They hit it off. Ikuno's a lesbian, and she likes.
Boom.
You forgot to mention that.
Ikuno's like not everyone got that, but I did notice it. Like the first part where
that was a really good
like,
reveal.
No, I'm not. She's like, I'm not interested in the boys or anything. And then 02 like licks the back of her neck, and then so that was like one of her only scenes in the whole series where she jumps. Yeah, I was like, I just caught that. Yep,
that's where you got it.
Yep,
that's an example. That's an example of a good foreshadowing, a good like subversion of expectation, I guess.
That was the boy versus girl episode. I saw it.
It was prepared, and we knew there's something up with Ikuno. And then she's like, Ichigo, I love you. I don't like boys. I like girls. And you're like, oh, that makes sense. And it's cool. You're like, oh, a good twist, but always make you go, oh, I get it now.
I see.
Exactly.
I see.
A bad twist will make you go, why? What's
Space aliens.
They'll just go, okay, that's ridiculous. So that's I like that. So anyway, Ichigo or Ikuno finds a lovely lady lass to be with, and Ichigo and Goro work out their stuff, and Goro becomes like a world traveler to settle populations around the world, and they're together. They have kids, whatever. They learn how to farm, and
a happy
ending.
Cool.
It's a happy ending. It's a happy ending. It's tragic but happy. It makes sense. The way they got there was really stupid, but the way it ended, it was great.
It was great.
Like episode 1 through 15, great, and then 22, and then whatever up to 22 was weird.
Here's what you do: watch 1 through to the wedding episode, skip to the last episode, and skip to halfway through the last episode. Boom! There's your show.
There's your perfect show.
Whatever happens in between, you make it up as long as it doesn't involve aliens. And then, great show.
So, as wrapping it up, overall rating, I give this a good
I will give it a.
I don't like giving numbers.
8.5.
8.5. Eric is,
out of what?
On a scale of 100.
10. Out of a scale of 10. If we're doing a scale of 10, it's 8.5.
I would recommend this show.
If it was a letter grade, I'd give it a B+.
Despite the ending of it, I would say it has at least up to a 4 on the fan knob.
What? Isn't 4 max?
Some of them have 5. I don't know.
The ones that I have are 4 is the highest.
I feel like the only thing that's not making it go higher is just the big turnaround at the end. If I wasn't as turnaround as I was, I'd probably give it higher.
Okay. So
that's the only thing that's really putting
my rating
back.
Is going to be the second to highest fan rating, not oscillating.
What?
Tyler's ratings.
Solid 6 out of 9. Would watch again. Boom.
Yeah. I would. Yeah. It's worth it to watch for the character developments all the way up to. It's worth the watch. It definitely is. I recommend it. That's my second highest fan rating, not oscillating. So
good.
I don't know what that means.
It's figure it out, man.
Okay.
Anyway, I just recommend that we all watch One Piece.
Nope. Anyways, disregard that. Remember,
please
subscribe, do all those fun things. You can find us on Twitter, and you can get updates for our next show and just our thoughts. Maybe some memes. You never know.